We've taken a brand new agency offer from $0 to $100,000 per month in the first 90 days of this year. And in today's video, I'm going to break down some of the biggest lessons that I've learned and go over some of the things that you will eventually face and that you need to be aware of, because if you know them, they're going to help you get results with less pain. Okay. Now, the first lesson is focus is absolutely everything. And in the world that we live in, where there's so much YouTube content being posted, so many conflicts and opinions and ways that you could be doing something, it's really fucking hard for you to understand what it is you need to focus on and what it is you need to do every single day. Now, we've built up a team inside of our business, but even before I had a team, I would get distracted very, very easily. I would see something new or a different way of doing things, and I'd think, okay, I need to go and implement that because that's clearly working for this person over here. And the reality is, you don't need new ideas. You don't need new ways of doing something. You don't need more opportunities or a different marketing channel. You actually just need to pick one niche, pick one problem to solve, pick one type of client, pick one marketing channel, and pick one offer that you're going to go out there and sell, and actually just focus full time, like all of your energy onto that one thing. So for me, I could go down the route of creating all these wonderful Figma boards with all these different systems inside, or I could go down the route of building all these beautiful landing pages for our business. But the reality is I just need to cut out all the complexity, simplify it as much as possible, and free up as much of my time to go and focus on building new ads, building more YouTube videos, and delivering results for clients. Those are the three main priorities that I need to focus on. And if I focus on only those things for the next 6 to 12 months, then our business will continue to grow. So you need to find out what your three things are. And most of the time it's going to be something similar to what I just said. And you need to double down and only work on those things. Now, I get it. It may be hard if you don't have a team in place, but that is why you have to prioritize bringing in someone that can manage certain tasks that you don't need to be doing or you shouldn't be doing because they don't align with what your main focus should be. Okay. Now, the second lesson is cheap labor doesn't always mean good. Now, I get it. Cheap labor is super appealing. You know, you can go and hire a virtual assistant that charges like $5 an hour, or you can bring in someone that is going to work part-time for you. And when you're first starting out, that makes a lot of sense. Well, because maybe there's not a lot of money in the business, and maybe you're not growing at the rate that you want to be growing. You're not bringing in a steady flow of clients. Maybe you're not charging enough. But what ends up happening is if you get caught in this trap of only trying to hire cheap people and only trying to work with cheap labor, you end up building this huge monster team of basically C players that can't actually deliver you any kind of results or help you. And you have to step in and manage them more than you would have to had you just hired someone good that could have replaced 5 of those people, for example. So what you need is you need high quality talent that you can train once and then you can trust to go and actually deliver for you. When we first started, we was going down the route of hiring people on the cheap. We were bringing people in that were working part-time for us. They weren't all in on unorthodox, and we hired lots of virtual assistants. Now, we still work with virtual assistants, but now we really focus on bringing in trying to find A players that can bring their own value. They bring their own skills. They can be trusted with a brief, and they understand and take initiative and actually go and do the work without us having to ask. Now, this goes back to my focus lesson. If you don't have that in place, your focus is going to constantly get pulled in different places and you aren't going to be able to grow the business. So you need to be able to focus on the right things, and to be able to do that, you need to have the right team members that are smart and paid well enough to actually then help you achieve it. Now, my third lesson is scaling too fast breaks things. Obviously. For us, scaling to $500,000 per month is the goal in 2025. But after the last few months of where we've got to and how quickly we've got to, scaling to $250,000 per month actually sounds pretty good, because there's lots of headaches between 0 to 100K, 100K to 250K, 250K to 500K, 500K to $1 million a month, okay? There's all these different bottlenecks and these different headaches that you don't anticipate and you're not aware of until they smack you in the face and they stop you in your tracks. This idea of like Chad scaling and just throwing loads of money into ads and then like sending 200,000 emails per month to get new clients sounds great. But what the hell do you do when you then landed 10 clients that month? How are you then going to deliver on it? You've then got to go and hire a team to help with service delivery. And then you've completely ignored your pipeline and you haven't even got new clients in the door. And then you've got a sales team that you need to build out, because then you can't manage the sales calls because, well, your time is now focused on delivery. And then before you know it, you're in this mess and everything's breaking. It's like trying to build a car whilst you're driving 100 miles an hour down the road. And there's nothing wrong with that. Getting thrown in the deep end to learn quickly is something that I actually prefer. I would much rather go fast and then figure it out as I go. But you also have to be okay with knowing that it is going to take time and patience for you to break through to that next level. And unlocking these different bottlenecks at these different stages is part of the game. It's part of the process. And you need to be aware of that. No one who's making $1 million per month got there easily. No one who's making $500,000 per month got there without any pain or any frustration or any moments where they thought, holy fuck, is this even going to be possible? Okay, so take your time with scaling. You don't need to get to the end result quickly. You need to be building a long-term business. And to do that, you need to be okay with working through the bottlenecks that appear and managing them when they pop up. And my next lesson is ignore everyone else because you are on your own path. I can sit here and I can create all these videos telling you about what's working for us, why we're doing it, what you should be doing, how it can work for you. But the reality is, I don't know you, unfortunately. I wish I could get to know you more, but I don't know your exact situation. I don't know how much money's in your account. I don't know what your goals are. I don't know what experience you have. I don't know what skill set you have. I don't even know what country you're living in, okay? So it's easy for me to sit here and give a blanket statement and say, this is what works and this is how you should do it. And I do believe in that. The stuff that I'm telling you online is the systems that you should be using, but there are hundreds of other ways that you could be doing stuff. I would be lying if I sat here and said, I know all the systems and that is the only way it works. It's not. There's hundreds of ways that you can do things. I can only tell you what's working for me. But then if you just keep going out there and watching more and more YouTube videos and listening to more and more people, you are going to eventually get to this point where you've now got 20 different ideas in your head. You've got 20 different opinions. You've got 20 different ways of doing something. And you have to realize that your situation and your journey actually just starts by you taking action and getting started. It isn't by you trying to learn everything and understand how it works for me or the next person. You need to go and build your own path and you need to go and figure it out for yourself. There's so much noise online and it's really hard to pick a path from it. But if you can do that, you win. Now, I try to ignore everything on YouTube. I don't watch anyone else's videos. I don't listen to anyone else's content or implement anything else other people are telling me. I'm learning from my own actions. I've been in this game for 9 years. I've generated over $5 million online and I understand what works and what doesn't. Don't get me wrong. There's a ton of stuff that I don't know and I'm still learning, but that's okay. I know that that is part of the process and I just need to go through that. And I can't get the info from just watching a YouTube video. Now, my next lesson is pay yourself. For the last 12 months, me and my co-founder have paid ourselves less than 100 grand a year. And I know for some of you watching that video, you're like, holy shit, that's a ton of money. But when you're working like 16-hour days and you're throwing everything into this business and it's consuming every day of the week because you love it so much, it really isn't that much money. I live in Dubai, rent's expensive. The weekends can get expensive here as well. And if you actually divvy up the hours and the time that we spend building this business and on calls, then it works out to be like minimum wage. And look, I'm happy with the minimum wage, but if I wasn't paying myself out of that money and I didn't set a budget or an allocation to me and Mark, my co-founder, every month, then working those long hours would be extremely painful. I would be creating an element of pressure behind me, knowing that I'm not bringing in money and I'm just spending money and I'm spending time and I have nothing to show for it, right? So I see a lot of people just sitting on hordes of cash and they refuse to pay themselves out because there's this mindset of, you know, I'm going to hustle and I'm not going to pay myself out and, you know, business eats first. And I completely agree on that, but you have to be careful with it because you can get to the point where you burn out, you start getting pressures from external stuff like rent and stuff like that, and you start freaking out. And if you're just getting started, you need to feed yourself first, right? And that may mean that you have to do a lot of the work and you can't hire in a team first, but make sure you are okay. Feed yourself so that you can then spend the time to actually work on and in your business and you can actually afford to then grow it. Now, I'm not saying go and pay yourself 100K a year right off of the get-go or start transferring 20K a month into your name, but there is a point where you have to pay yourself. The business's money is the business's money. It's not your money. That has to be a separate thing. But at the same time, that business also has to pay you for your time and energy that you're putting into it. Next lesson is sometimes you're going to take one step backwards to take 2 steps forward. Okay, so sometimes you need to cut something off that is already working or has been working in order to grow. And now that may be a different product, a different offer that you have, or it may be a different marketing channel that you've been spending time building. Maybe it could even be clients that you're working with that you need to let go and get rid of. For us, recently we had to up our pricing and our qualification in order to book less calls. We was getting to this point where we were booking so many calls, but the qualification criteria was a bit varied, where some people would be right for the offer, some people would be overqualified and almost laugh at our pricing when we mentioned it. So what we had to do was bring our bar up. We had to bring the level up. And that meant booking less calls, and that meant signing less clients. But ultimately, over the long run, we're now going to be charging more. We're now going to be working with a higher caliber of person, and that pays in dividends with time saved from team members not having to get dragged onto calls from clients. And it also ensures that we can actually spend the time and get the results for the clients that we do land. And it means that we're working with a better type of person as well. Also with the sales team, I went hands off for a few months and I just hired in a bunch of sales guys and we're building out a sales management team. And recently I've gone back into the sales process. I want to keep close to the business. And in my mind, that is a 1 step back for 2 steps forward, because I'm now going to get feedback directly from people on these calls. I'm obviously running the ads myself, so I'm getting to understand what sort of leads are coming through and what sort of book calls we're getting from the leads, from the ads that we're running. And that is invaluable. So it may look like a step backward for now, but in the future, that value that I'm going to get from this move is far outweighs any time that I'm going to spend on a sales call, for example. Make sure my camera's still filming. Okay, next up we have Facebook fucking sucks, okay? Now I don't mean Facebook ads, but I mean their attribution and their tracking. So not only when you first start running ads or you launch some campaigns, you're gonna get banned and you're gonna get shut down constantly for no reason by Facebook. And it's so stressful and so annoying. We actually had our unorthodox account get shut down for no reason whatsoever. So we had to start again. We're now back up to spending like £500, £600 a day. But it took us time to get there, and it definitely put like a hold on the business for a couple of weeks. Now, on top of that, the biggest thing that I found is Meta underreports. So you may look at your data and say, okay, I've booked 4 calls this week or 5 calls this week, right? And I've spent $1,000 to do that. So in your mind, you're looking at the data and you're going, oh, great. So it's costing me $200 per call and they're not qualified. This is absolutely rubbish. I'm going to shut down the ads and it's not going to work. All right. But what's actually happening is Facebook is underreporting. So what we found is Facebook's underreporting almost 50%. All right. We're not using Hyros right now. We're not using any sort of attribution software. This is literally just through Facebook's pixels. And it is reporting 50% of the conversions that we're actually making, which means it's showing that we've booked, again, as an example, 5 calls that week for $1,000, when actually we've actually booked 10 calls for $1,000, which automatically brings our cost per call down by 50%, which then tells me that actually the ads are working and I shouldn't be turning them off. So the problem with this is it gives you this fake data, essentially, that you can't really make any sort of educated decisions on. You can't then decide, I'm going to go and scale this campaign, or I'm going to go spend more money here, or I'm going to shut this campaign off, because you're guessing. It's not real data. It's not the right attribution. And that's the biggest thing that I've noticed with Facebook, especially at a stage as you start to scale, right? So if you're a beginner and you're just starting running ads, you don't need an attribution software just yet. You just need to get the ball rolling and moving. But if you are spending 10, 15, 20, 50,000 per month on paid ads, without having a system like Hyros that's actually tracking your attribution the right way and telling you what ads are converting, it's really hard for you to scale those campaigns and actually understand where you need to be spending your money. You need to have that data, and that data has to be right. That is so, so crucial for anyone running ads, okay? And that's now the position that we're into. Now, next lesson, and only got a couple more after this, is listen to your clients, okay? I know that one sounds weird to a lot of you, but feedback is the most important thing that a client can give you. It isn't their money, it's their feedback on your services, it's the feedback on how they enjoyed the experience working with you. It's the feedback on the results that you got for them. And the only way you're going to get that feedback is by being close to your clients. It's by engaging with them. It's being active. It's giving them an option to have a communication channel with you. For us, all of our clients are in one-on-one Slack channels. Even on our lowest ticket offer on Orthodox OS, clients are in a one-on-one Slack channel for the first 30 days, so we can get feedback from them, so we can make changes and improve the product. That is your only goal, alongside obviously all the other 10x tasks. But your only goal, it shouldn't just be make more money. It's improve the product, improve the level of service that you're providing for your clients, improve the amount of results that you drive for them, because then that feeds everything. When you have all these clients getting results, you can then spend more on marketing because you've got the results to prove, and you can then have the confidence in your sales team to be closing more deals because they believe in the product too. And the only way for you to do that is by getting more feedback from your clients, using that feedback to create a feedback loop and actually feeding it into everything that you do. Okay, so look at the first 6 months of your business and treat it like an opportunity to get feedback from the few clients that you land. Next up, we have document everything that you're doing to then train a team. Now, previously, it was just, I would just jump in, do the work and be like, yeah, cool, guys, it's done. And the thing is with that is, well, it doesn't help anyone. It just means I've got to go and do it again and again and again and again every single time that one problem comes up or every single time that one part of the service comes up. Now, instead, what we do is we now prioritize creating SOPs and video guides on how we go and do everything. Because then when a team member joins, we then have a bank of resources, like a course essentially for internal team members to go through to see exactly how and why these different processes work and what is my thinking and Mark's thinking around what we're doing inside of the business. So instead of me having to use my time and go out there and train, we have all of this recorded material basically walking through step by step why we do things and how those things actually affect the end result of the client. So you need to be documenting every single step inside your business, whether you're mapping it out on a Figma board, writing it in a Google sheet, put it in an Excel spreadsheet, filming Loom videos. It doesn't matter what it is. Don't overcomplicate it, but just get into the habit of documenting as much as you possibly can. You also have to be okay with stepping back and letting someone come in and actually learn from you to then take over the process. You know, me building funnels before, that's very timely for me. But every single time we got someone in to build funnels for our clients, I'd be like, oh, fuck, this sucks. I'll jump in and I'll just make changes and do it myself. But instead of doing that, I have to record myself doing it one time or two or three times so that then I can hand that to the team and then improve their skills rather than it being reliant on me. Okay, so you have to be okay, again, stepping back, knowing that it's not going to be done the right way the first time, but you then have to proactively have a plan on how you can improve and upskill your team members to ensure that you don't have to get involved ever again. Now, this is the last lesson and probably the most important lesson, and that is know when you need to rest. A few weeks back, I was laying in bed and I went to bed and the day before it was like a 16-hour day, lots of calls, lots of team calls, sales calls, client onboardings, just lots of creating content. And previous to that, it was pretty much that every single day for like 2 months. And, there's a few days off in between there. But what I start to notice is when I'm overworked and when I am at a point of just not burnout, but like exhaustion, right? What will happen is I'll go to bed at night and I'll be dreaming about business. I'm dreaming about Unorthodox. I'm dreaming about just sitting at my desk on Slack. I'm dreaming about creating content. I'm waking up at 2 a.m. trying to problem solve and think about things for the next day. And what ends up happening is you end up losing all this sleep. And then you wake up and you go and do the whole day again. And it's a really unhealthy cycle where you just keep repeating that process. And this for me is the biggest telltale and early signs of me burning out. And what ends up happening is if I do that for too long, I then just crash and burn, where I need to then take a week away and just reset my brain, or a long weekend and just completely reset. It's really disruptive for the business. It puts a lot of pressure on the team. It obviously puts a lot of pressure on our marketing because then I can't step in and actually do my role and my task. And I'd be much better off just understanding those patterns and knowing when it's okay to just step back and say, okay, I need to go and take a rest. I need to take the afternoon off. There's nothing sexy about this. I grind 18 hours a day, man. I get it. You can do that in your early 20s. I'm an old man, all right? I can't do that anymore. So I now understand my body. I understand when I'm getting close to burnout. I understand that it's okay for me to just step back. I go and watch fucking Pokemon card YouTube videos. That is what I enjoy doing outside of my spare time of building businesses. Okay, so I go and watch videos and I don't beat myself up for not thinking about business. It needs to happen. You need to pull yourself back out so you can come back and have clarity of thought. I've done it so many times where I've just kept pushing through, and what ends up happening is you just make stupid, rash decisions inside your business that don't serve anyone, and you just become 20% of the man that you should be because you're so tired, you're exhausted, and you're just so close to it. You need to step back. You need to have that bird's eye view of what it is you've been doing, and then you can come back in fresh, make some good decisions, and actually get to your end result much faster. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that you can get away with working 1-2 days a week. It's not going to happen, especially when you're first getting started out. I personally will work 6, sometimes 7 days a week, And that's because I absolutely love this. I love creating content on this. I love building the business. I love helping clients, getting on sales. I just love every single thing about it. And if you don't love every single thing about what you're doing, then you probably need to change what it is you're doing, or you need to do it for a bit longer and learn to love it. Okay? But don't burn out. Don't push yourself so hard and be so hard on yourself that you can't even take a break. You need to be aware of what's going on inside of your body, and you need to be aware of how your brain's working, and you need to give yourself that time. So hopefully this video helps you out. I really like getting in front of the camera and just like talking about the lessons that I'm actually learning and actually going through, because I know some of you watching this video are going to really resonate with that, and you're probably going through something similar. If you do like these types of videos, let me know down below. Let me know down below in the comments, and I'll make more of them. If you don't, also let me know. But if you want to watch another video where I go over exactly how we scaled from 0 to 100K per month in just under 90 days, I've actually made this video right here, so go and check that out too. So yeah, with that said, see you later. Bye-bye.